All right. I can't believe another month has passed. May 31st. Um, this has been the busiest month, most exciting month for me since I started this journey. And I'm excited to review it. Last month, April, I guess the theme was how I had done a lot of playing. I was playing with two bands at this festival, and it was very stressful, high pressure, it felt like, and high pressure that I didn't necessarily want, I guess. And this month had plenty of stress as well, but it's not high pressure, high stakes in any way. And it's been stressful in um, in a better way, I guess, in a way that I would invite much more of. So last time I was stressed because I was going to be performing potentially the largest shows that I've done. Certainly largest shows I've done in Taipei um, this go around this year. But I was stressed because I was going to be doing this, and I was doing it with very little preparation. And then I was also thinking about how if I get what I want, which is to be like in the band of a major touring artist doing sold out shows wherever, all over the world, I would feel that sort of impending doom every day. Even if I was prepared, I think I would be really, really a wreck every night. There wouldn't come a point in time where I felt so comfortable that I don't also get extremely, extremely like nervous. So it had me questioning whether that's what I really want. This month, I'm even more certain in a way, because this month has been sort of a 180. And so let me get you caught up on that. Beginning of the month, the beginning of the month, I started two new projects. There's this girl passing through Taipei. She's like she's gonna be a star one day. She's one of those people. Everybody around her knows it. They're like, man, you're gonna be a star. I don't want to put that on her because maybe that's not what she wants. But if she wants to be, she's going to be a star. The proverbial triple threat in entertainment. She can dance, she can act, and she can sing. Boy, can she sing. So she was just passing through. I met her, I think it was the very end of March, and maybe early April. But I think it was the very end of March. I met her. Everybody was just enamored with her voice, with her presence. And she's a kid. She's very young, and she's already performed, toured with like Broadway. And anyway, point is, she was just passing through Taipei. She was gonna come here for like a few weeks or a month. But she sort of fell in love, got reeled in by us, by our expat music community here in Taipei, and she's decided to stay a while. She may be here for a long while. She's gotten so many gigs, so many offers, so many opportunities, and she signed a performing contract for a year. So, assuming things continue to go well, she'll be here for another year. So I talked to her about maybe singing some of my songs. And then she said she could, but she would rather do something new with me, which is not really what I wanted at the time when she told me that. I was a little disappointed. I wanted somebody to sing my songs. I thought maybe she just doesn't like my songs. If you look at it a different way, I think she liked what she heard from me, and because of that, decided that I was somebody she'd want to work with. So putting a positive spin on it. So we met up, we started working together and writing some songs together, and we've done it twice now, and we have 2 songs from those sessions that we can perform, and I'm very pleased with how they're sounding. Plus the relationship that we've developed. She's really cool. She's so supportive. I feel like she's wise beyond her years, and I've tried to tell her a bit about my experience in music. 15 years ago, when I was already older than she is now, but she seems way more mature and has a much better understanding of the entertainment industry and what she could do, and her mentality. And I'm so impressed with her. So anyway, it's been great to work with her. And the biggest thing from that, not only how encouraging and supportive she's been, and also obviously how nice it is to work with somebody so talented, but the other great thing from that is that it was really my first time since 2012 writing music again. I mean, I've dabbled here and there, but I haven't really written seriously written music since 2012 until this month. I've done a little bit here and there just to try and get the juices flowing again. It's more like kind of a workshop kind of deal, like kind of practicing, but not actually doing it, if that makes sense. You could say it's like, for a songwriter, it's my first performance, since in songwriting you don't really perform songwriting. But yeah, I would say prior to this, for the last 12 years hiatus, I haven't done any songwriting performances where I really wrote something in a serious way that I wanted to use. I've just written some parodies, some joking things, short little things here and there, but nothing actually like a real work. So yeah, she got me to do that. And I've been kind of kicking my feet and dragging my feet, sort of kicking the can a little bit with getting back into writing. And she got me there just by saying, I don't really want to, I don't know about singing any of these songs, but let's write something together. And I told her, I'm nervous. I'm not sure I can do it. I haven't done it. And we did it. And it was great. And it's because of her doing that and encouraging me. And what was I going to say about this too? But anyway, it's been a good. Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to say is it's also sort of my first time collaborating on songwriting, because back in the day when I wrote hundreds and hundreds of songs, I pretty much wrote all of those songs by myself. The only exceptions were in a couple bands I was in where we kind of jammed and co-wrote together as a band in sort of a jam rehearsal setting, which is co-writing, but it took on a different flavor back then. This was, it's not like songwriters sitting down together and collaborating. That was just more like jamming together and then seeing where things go. So it's different, and there was a lot of additional pressure this time around, and I'm really happy with how things have turned out. So I'm not sure when we will record these songs. I don't really know, but I'm hoping we'll perform them somewhere. It's a little tricky because she has that contract and it has sort of an exclusivity clause where she can't perform in certain other types of venues and shows. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes, but she seems to really enjoy writing with me. I like it too. So I hope we can do more and then do something with it. All right. Other project I started doing was a lo-fi music project with my bandmate and my buddy John from the Church of Loops. He's dabbled in this before, which I didn't know, but I knew that he would be good at this, and so I messaged him one day, probably a month ago, I don't know, with this article that I'd read about some guy who makes lo-fi beats on Spotify, and has been successful with it. And I was like, hey, he says it's so easy to do in terms of creating it. He says it's so easy to do, and I felt like from when I thought about it, yeah, it should be very easy to do. Monetizing and being successful at it is a whole nother ballgame. Maybe not easy at all, but creating good lo-fi music should be easy to do. So I told John, and he agreed. Like, why can't we do this? And so I started going over to his place, and we started making music. And so that's my other project where I'm writing music again. So I'm feeling really fulfilled doing that. I'd say the lo-fi stuff fills a void that I've been seeking to fill for 2 decades now, and that is where I could create an idea, or run with an idea in music, and just do something with it, have fun with it, and then leave it and forget it and move on. Because that was always an issue I had back when I used to write songs. I'd have too many ideas, and I'd try to cram too many of these ideas into one song. And when I finished the song, then there'd be a lot of work to do with that song. And 99 out of 100 times, I'd do all that work, and then the song wouldn't go anywhere. It wouldn't get performed, wouldn't get picked up by singers, it wouldn't be published on the radio, whatever. And so it was always frustrating to do so much work when all I wanted to do was flesh out one idea. And so now with lo-fi, it's like I can do that one after the next, after the next, after the next, and just keep moving on and keep churning this stuff out. We're doing a pretty good job of mixing and in a not getting too hung up on things too much. I think that's the one area that we still can improve on a lot, though, is the efficiency of how we record and then eventually publish. So we'll figure all of that out. But right now, I'm happy we have 4 tracks done from 2 sessions so far, and I think we'll start to get better so that we can have maybe 3 or 4 tracks done in each session, and we'll see where that goes. But from an artistic standpoint, I'm so happy with being able to do that. So I'm grateful that I got a guy like John who can help me. So those are the 2 things, the 2 new projects, if you will. And then the other big thing that's happening is I was asked by one of my bands, Electric Monk. They were having trouble finding an opener for our next show, which, as I said before, might be our last show, at least for a little while. And so I thought, okay, if we can't get an opener and this may be our last show for a long time, I'll be the opener. I'll do something. So I told him, and he's like, yeah, sure, sounds good. And then I thought, let me ask Gerald over at Rev Now, because he has always been a supporter and always told me whenever I'm going to do a show, my first show, tell him he wants to have me over there performing. So I told him, and they gave me the very next night, which is I think could be a big night because it's a holiday the following day. So I mean, it's a coveted time slot, I would think. Anyway, so we've got back-to-back shows for my first shows ever for my band, Project Maximus. Catching you up, I've never performed my own music, my own solo music ever. even when I recorded my album last time, I was done with music. I was recording that album. Well, initially I was recording the album because I wanted to sell it to other singers um, and promote myself as a songwriter. So I had no intention really of promoting it or touring with the actual music. It was going to be for other people to do. And then as we were recording the album, I kind of quit. So nothing ever happened with that. And now I'm reviving a lot of the songs, and this is gonna be my first show for Project Maximus, for my band, for my music, and for my first full show. Like I've done. Anyway, I'm gonna get in the weeds on that, but I'm excited, and I jumped into it, and I was like, let's do it. And I had 3 weeks and 6 days when I said, let's do it. Can I do it? Okay, let's do it. Confirmed. 3 weeks and 6 days. And I thought, I know a lot of musicians. I'm going to put a band together. And boy, has this been an incredibly stressful time. I got no after no after no. I got some yeses that then later became no's for extenuating circumstances. So it's just, a lot of times it was a big bummer because I was very excited. I got my number one choice guitarist, and then a few days later realized that wasn't going to work out. Second choice guitarist was a no. He has a show. It's just hard to find people last minute who are not only available to do the 2 shows, but then also have enough free time to learn all my music. Anyway, I just went down the list. I think there was 2 other guitarists that I asked that I know, not super well, but at least I know them, and they both couldn't do it. Concurrently, I was looking for drummers, and I asked Electric Monk's drummer originally signed on to do it, but he always wanted me to know that he wasn't a solid commitment because he has a lot of stuff going on. And then I asked my friend Terry, who has been a big supporter of mine. He's kind of a rough. He's not a practicing drummer. He used to be a drummer, but he doesn't play very much now. And so, but he knows a lot of my songs. So I asked him. Figured that would be an easy yes, and it wasn't because he's too busy. Then I asked another drummer who also didn't have time to learn the music that I know. Who else? I asked a couple local drummers, but they both had gigs already. Who else? I'm sure I'm missing a few other people that I know. I can't specifically remember. But yeah, the local drummers were Jimmy and Mike. Both of them have conflicts that weekend. I asked, and then Murder Hornets drummer is out of the country. I reached out to some drummers that I don't know at all. I got recommendations for like 4 or 5 different people. I just reached out to them. I don't know you at all. Can you play the show? None of them could do it. Either traveling or they have gigs. So I was freaking out. At the same time, I reached out to a bassist, and she said yes. My first choice bassist. Although with bass, so it was cool. It was cool to get the first choice. Although with bass, I wasn't too worried. I had a hint. I wasn't too worried about anyone, and that's how it turned out. So I shouldn't. But anyway, my bassist, I wasn't too worried. But she said yes right away, and I picked her because I know her as a friend. But I don't know her really as a musician, so it was a little bit of a wild card. But I picked her because one, she's a female, and my wife likes that. She's all about getting more females into rock bands, and she's like, yeah. So I asked her. She's young. I like the fact that she's young. She's not Taiwanese exactly, but she's sort of a local, so I like that too. But then the clincher is really that she's a good singer. And when I didn't have any other pieces of the band yet, I wanted to ask her because I knew that at least she could sing. And for my music, my ideal would be to have a band full of people who can sing, just everybody can sing, because I don't trust my voice that well. So if I can have a bunch of good backup singers, vocalists to support me, all the better. So that's why I chose her. I was really happy to get her. So no drama with bass in terms of getting the members. Back to guitar. So then after I got that fourth no, I said I was going to an open mic that night, and I just said, whoever's at the open mic, if somebody wants to play with me, and I don't care how good they are, if they want to play with me, I'm gonna ask them. And I showed up at the open mic. This French dude was available, said, let's go jam. After we jammed, I asked him, do you want to play these 2 shows? He said he's available. So that's how I got my guitarist. He's actually pretty good, but he's an even better bassist, and he's able to help the other girl with the bass. So that's good. Good to have that support. So I'm happy. That's how I got my guitarist, and I have the bassist. Now the drummer is a whole nother thing. I don't know how much I want to get into this, but there was drama with that as well. After I got all those no's, I finally got a yes, but I fumbled it. I got a yes, then I got another yes. I got 2 yeses, and without going into details, let's just say both yeses turned into no's because of unfortunate circumstances. So I had nobody again. Yeah, we got like a show like I think at this point we're down to like 2.5 weeks, and it's like, how am I going to get a drummer with a show in 2.5 weeks? Somebody has to learn the music. Somebody has to not have gigs lined up. And I just reached out to everyone I knew now at this point. I had been going through all the music channels, but now it's just like, does anybody I know in any part of my life know a drummer or somebody who play drums? And so we actually found a couple cool possibilities, but they weren't around. Like they'd be traveling. It's too last minute. But it's neat to know that I had people in my social circles who are also musicians that I didn't realize. But we finally got somebody. He is not young. He's much older than me. He is a good friend from my wife's church, our church. She does a lot of the volunteer stuff. And then her husband, who doesn't go to that church, he goes to a different church. So I'd never met him before. He is a musician. He's a guitarist and singer. But growing up, he played the drums. So he was like, I think I can do it. I'll just got to shake the rust off, and I need a place to practice. But if there's a place I can practice, then I'll learn the music and do it. So I have and he's a former pastor, among many other things. I don't want to label him, but I'm just going to label him for the sake of this video because it's kind of funny to me to talk about. So my band is an old, retired, former pastor from, I forgot where he's from. Somewhere in America though. And he most recently he's living in like North Carolina and Florida. That's my drummer. My guitarist is a guy from France who plays bass, and he's my guitarist. And then my bassist is a girl from South Korea living in Taiwan, and me, and that's the band. So we had our first rehearsal 2 days ago. Our first rehearsal came 10 days before our first show. I didn't have the drummer until 12 days before the first show. And then first rehearsal, it was not good. Not good at all. Oh, I was super, super stressing because, I don't want to blame anyone because I'm super grateful that they're doing it. But having said that, I wish that as able to devote the time and be as prepared as I have generally been for other people's shows and other people's music. Now, I haven't always been 100% prepared. Actually, a lot of times I haven't been, but there was sort of a level, at least, of preparedness. I'd gone over the songs enough times. I had some idea of what to do, even if I couldn't do it well yet. I won't say I've gone into every first rehearsal ready to play everything, but I've gone into every first rehearsal with some idea of how to play, and then I could practice from there. So this first rehearsal, drums were shaky, understandably so. He's very rusty, and he just got the songs 2 days before. Guitar was not shaky. He's good, and he knows the songs. The only issue is instead of playing, for the situation that we're in, I just thought everybody's going to learn the music exactly like all the recordings. And he came in and has completely different ideas for how to play the songs. And I totally appreciate it. But not now. Not when we don't have very much time to put these songs together. I just want to stick to the recordings as closely as possible. So to his credit, he knows the songs really well. He's clearly listened and prepared. And two, he's not in a position to play. He's one guitarist. And if we're saying, let's play the songs as closely to the recordings as possible, we need two guitars, maybe three, So it's not, it's not fair to put that on him. But still, I would want him to come in and play everything with that same vibe. Like, let's go for the same vibe as all the recordings. So anyway, I think he can do it. It's just he didn't do it right away. And that compounded with the fact that the bassist was not ready at all made me very worried. That said, we still have 8 days till the first show. And we're planning out several more rehearsals. And the shows themselves are not that important. I obviously want to do well. My first show ever for Project Maximus. I want to do well, but it'll be okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, I gotta go.